Streaming all across the country, from Washington State to South Beach and the Northeast to the deserts of Arizona, to dive into all things football. You're listening to the B&E Podcast. Here's your hosts, Ed Donaldson and Brandon Simpson.
Showtime at the Apollo, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the B&E Podcast free agency episode presented to you by Premium. He's Ed, I'm Brandon. Got a lot going on between two of our teams, our divisions, the whole league as a whole. So we're going to break down a little bit, definitely between our teams, as well as provide the biggest free agency signing or trade that we feel like has taken place so far, as well as a head-scratching move. We always talk about bonehead plays, calls, and moves of the week, but we got a head-scratching type bonehead type free agency signing as well that we'll unveil to you in just a few moments. But Ed, how's it going, man?
Doing good, man. Free agency's full underway. Next month we got the draft. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. But let's definitely get into all these moves that happen. Let's get this opening drive started first, though, shall we? 49ers defensive end Bryce Huff is retiring. Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker III is signed with the Chiefs. Cornerback Trent McDuffie was traded to the Rams and became the highest paid defensive back in the league. The Colts re-signed wide receiver Alec Pierce and traded Michael Pittman to the Steelers. Wide receiver Mike Evans is with the 49ers after spending 12 seasons in Tampa Bay. Quarterbacks Kyler Murray and Tua Tagovailoa were both released. Tua signed a one-year deal with the Falcons. Kyler Murray is joining the Vikings. And this is a little older news, unrelated to NFL. Bam Adebayo scored 83 points against my Wizards earlier this week. I just wanted to put that out there too. So Wizards are in history book, letting the guy score the second most points ever in the league. Congrats to Bam Adebayo and same old Wizards. What can I say?
Yeah, I'm a Heat fan. As a Wizards fan, I actually didn't even know about it until long after. And yeah, kudos to Bam. He's not exactly my favorite player on the Heat, but he all right in my book sometime. Let's switch back to football, everyone. Ed's Commanders, they started slow in free agency, but they made multiple moves looking to improve their roster and get out of that third place spot that they finished in the NFC East last season. Let's see how Ed feels about the signings so far.
I can see the strategy, and it's obvious what they should have done. They're trying to go, younger, faster, more athletic. I think we had the oldest roster in the league last year, especially after all the injuries hit last season. The roster is, and no offense, but the roster was just absolute dog shit after it was all said and done with the injuries. Everybody in the defensive line, there was no depth. We have Von Miller out there. Or so, he came over here to win the damn ring, but his role had to change. He had to go, we was going to use him more of a third down situation, every other type of play, but his role had to change with the two defensive ends, Dietrich Wise, Doris Armstrong, they got injured. So, last season was just terrible. Got Bobby Wagner looking slow and old. A lot of guys looking slow and or old out there. Hopefully these new signings that we got can fix some of that. I want to start with some of the players that we lost in free agency. Chris Rodriguez, he's one of my favorite backs. Every time I saw him play, I thought he did pretty good. But he didn't get a lot of playing time. God knows why. I mean, I don't know why, but every time he stepped on the field, in my opinion, he was making things happen. But he's no longer with us. He's with the Jaguars now. I'm sure he'll do good there if he gets playing time. Maybe it'll be the same situation. Jacob Martin, defensive end, linebacker, edge rusher type of guy. He's with the Titans now. And Jonathan Jones, cornerback. I think he played about started 7 games with us, total of 10 games with us. He was another guy I think had to deal with injuries, but he's over with the Eagles now. So really not looking forward to seeing him in the damn Eagles jersey. But those are only 3 players that I know of right now. There's probably more, but those are only 3 players that I know right now that other teams have signed. Only 3 people that I'm aware of. That to me, that means, which I said before, the roster was absolute shit. Nobody was even thinking about a lot of these Commanders players. I mean, free agent still is going on, so there's still some time for some other free agents that we got on our team to be out there. But yeah, roster was trash. I am excited about a lot of these signings. The linebacker Leo Chenal from the Chiefs, fast dude. We need our linebacker core was just oh boy, Lord have mercy. I mean, everybody know how I feel about Bobby Wagner his play last season. Frankie Louvu, I mean, good God. I mean, so I'm happy that we got him. Hopefully he can stay healthy. And from what I've been hearing about him, he's a versatile guy. He can rush, he can play the pass, and like I said, he's fast. He can get sideline to sideline. So hopefully tight ends won't be having field days against us with Leo Chenal out there. We got a safety from the coast, Nick Cross. I think he's a hometown guy too. Me and Brandon were texting. I seen you a couple of his old tweets talking about I guess I want to say this is like when he was like 16 or something, but he was tweeting about they were called the Redskins back then, but he had a couple of tweets about them, and he sounded like a real fan, like the way he was talking and saying things. He said, I quote, like the Redskins are disappointing, so typical, something like that. Yep, that's a real fan right there. He already knows what's going on, these clowns. But I'm glad to see him out there. This is another young guy. I think he's only 24. They say he ran a 4.3 40 in a 40-yard dash, so he's got some speed on him too, and he can hit. Need a guy in the damn secondary that's gonna put some fear out there and smack people, because we had a lot of missed tackles. That's the thing with the Commanders every damn year is blown tackles, missed tackles, players getting trucked, just looking bad out there. So hopefully Nick Cross can lay the shoulder into some people, and he has the speed to call out the field on a lot of guys too. Another signing that I'm really excited about is your old guy. And this is probably our biggest signing money wise. Defensive end Odafe Owe. He's with the Chargers. Got traded, I think it was mid-season, early season, between the Ravens and the Chargers last year. So I'm excited to see what he can do. We're gonna get Dietrich Wise back. I believe we signed Dietrich Wise, so hopefully he can come back. But he's definitely gonna be a starter piece. But I think if our defensive line can come back healthy, with the guys we had last year, the starters, I mean, we got a defensive tackle. We brought back Tim Settle as well. I think him and the other guy we got, Jason from the Patriots, Clavon Jason. Sorry if I butchered your name, sir. Pats. That combination, I really think we can do some things on the defensive side of the ball, on the D line. That first seven, the whole defense as a whole was a weakness, but there was huge holes in the first seven. I mean, the linebackers, I say it all the time as a joke. As soon as the ball hike, they disappear. It's like they run to the sideline as fast as they can, something like that. So I'm hoping the first four, that defensive line, and those three linebackers, four linebackers, however we want to play it, get solidified with free agency and see what we do in the draft too. I'm mostly excited about those picks. I think it was today we just signed wide receivers Van Jefferson, De'Ami Brown. De'Ami Brown played for us the year before. He was with Jaden his rookie year. Didn't have big numbers, but he did have some big splash plays. Doesn't just add more depth to the wide receiver core, who also dealt with injuries last year. I mean, I remember that Cowboys game. Debo was out. I think Terry was out. I think our starting wide receiver was Chosen Anderson, formerly known as Robbie Anderson. We made the Cowboys look like teams back in the early 90s when they heyday. The way the defense was peeling their ears back and just rushing after them. So we got some wide receiver depth with those two signings. So I'm happy about that. Like I said, I think we are trying to get younger, faster, more athletic, and these signings definitely help. I want to get into some of the re-signings too. I am glad we re-signed Laramie Tunsil. I think he's one of the best offensive linemen out there. Been in the league for a while too, and probably a Hall of Famer. So I'm glad we got him back. We got our punter back, Tress Way as well, Pro Bowl type of guy too. And then we keeping some of our linemen, Nick Allegretti, Trent Scott. So I'm happy with those signings too. We signed Traylon Burks, give him another year as well. See how it goes. And then on the offensive side of the ball, we got the tight end from the Titans, Chikwe Okonkwo. Excuse me if I pronounce your name wrong. I mispronounced it wrong. But I'm really excited about this. I think he'll do really good at replacing Zach Ertz see how it is in the red zone. I know Zach Ertz that's where he kind of made his bread and butter out there. But I think younger guy, like I said, more athletic, fast. He's really good after the catch. I remember seeing him using him a little bit in fantasy football, and I know he put up some numbers in garbage time and things like that. But hopefully he'll be a really good target for and weapon for Jaden Daniels. So I'm really excited about that on the offensive side of the ball. And then our running back Rashad White picked him up from went over to Tampa Bay. He had a really good year in 2023. Almost had 1,000 yards rushing. Then they drafted the guy this year. His production kind of went down, but he's a guy that we can use as one of those passing running backs or catching running backs. Excuse me. Bill Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt, 7th-round rookie last year. He did okay, but after Eckler went down, we didn't really have that threat catching the ball out of the backfield like that. Hopefully Crosby-Merritt can work on that, but Rashad White is definitely a guy who can, do good for us in that position, in my opinion. Still think we can do a little bit more with the running back and wide receiver room. We'll probably address that in the draft and maybe even more in free agency, but definitely like Rashad White and the tight end Okonkwo as those additions right there. But all in all, I think the most happy or the signings I really like was the linebacker Leo Chanel. I can't forget about the cornerback from the Lions we picked up, Amik Robertson. Just another depth piece. Probably use him in the slot as well. Him and Mikey Sayers still play that slot position a little bit. So I'm good about that. I just think a lot of these moves, I think 2 of these guys can be absolute starters. That's Leo Chanel and Adafe Owe. And the other guys, maybe Nick Cross too. I think he can compete for a starting safety position. But a lot of these guys are really good depth moves. Hopefully we don't get destroyed with injuries this year, but if we do, I feel like this is a good start to have, pieces where we can put out guys and they not getting, highlight tapes put on them. So I am happy about the players we signed and a lot of the guys we re-signed. So yeah, what about you, Brandon? You got any thoughts on how my Commanders did so far this free agency?
Yeah, man, Adafe Owe, if y'all can get some of that same production that he had in 2024, as well as the back in the last year when he got traded from Baltimore to LA, I think it's a damn good move for y'all. 2024, I mentioned career high 10 sacks. If I'm not mistaken, he led our team in sacks that season. 2025 kind of started slow, and I think that's what led to the trade situation with the Chargers. We traded him for Aloy Gilman, the safety, and he had 7.5 sacks from the time he got traded until the end of the season. Definitely got some speed off the edge, but he does sometimes struggle against those bigger offensive linemen. He gets bullied a little bit here and there. I do also like the additions of, I hope I don't butcher their names, Kalavon Chasen and as you mentioned, Leo Chanel as well. Chanel kind of under the radar linebacker there with Kansas City because he had the bigger names there with Karlaftis and Bolton running sideline to sideline, but you did hear his name here and there. And then Chason had 7.5 sacks and a Super Bowl appearance there with the Patriots. I know their linebacker core was a little bit banged up. I think he was a little bit on that injury report list as well on the back end of the season. You can't take away that production that he had. Then you add in the big tight end as well from the Titans, man. Probably going to butcher this one. Chig Okonkwo. More than 60% of his production I saw came after the catch. Has that big frame, kind of reminds me of someone like Antonio Gates and David Njoku, just doing damage after the catch, as well as Darnell Washington up there with Pittsburgh Steelers. I know a lot about dealing with him, being a Ravens fan. But the only questionable move that I would say was in free agency was bringing back the kicker, Jake Moody. Not too sure about that because I think you talked about the kicking situation throughout last season as well. But I guess if you don't have nobody else, wasn't no other big names at free agency at the kicker position, at least until the draft, y'all had to bring him back at least because you can always let him go in training camp if you find somebody else better in the draft. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it definitely seems like y'all trying to fill some of them holes on defense that y'all had issues with last year. You mentioned you would be seeing plays and the play was over here and your linebackers were nowhere to be found, completely out of the screen. So y'all definitely took y'all shots at the defensive side of the ball when it comes to free agency, man. Rashid White, I do like that as well. Rashad White, I think he'll boost that run game. Kind of surprised y'all didn't bring back Rodriguez because, like you said, I think he was one of the better backs that y'all had. But White, hopefully, he'll make up for some of that. But yeah, overall, y'all definitely made some moves, I think, to address a number of holes on your roster. And I think you sent me a text of something you saw on Twitter that or X that y'all have the most available cap still, and I think Baltimore is right behind as well. So we'll see what other possible moves we may continue to make both teams moving forward.
Right. Speaking of cap space, I saw today, I think the Titans released a Jerry Sneed. I would love Commanders.
Yeah.
Y'all get him in the building. Let's see if we can sign him. Like you just said, we got a lot of cap space left still. Come on now. We need that defense was god awful, right? I mean, they were terrible. And I forgot to mention, we also signed another defensive end for the Chiefs. More of a depth piece, in my opinion. Most of that defensive front, Charles Omenihu. Another guy from the Chiefs coming over with Leo Chanel. I think he'll be a good addition for us. Defensive end, Charles Omenihu. Forgot to mention him.
Got you. All right, everyone, before we move forward, this episode is brought to you by Premium, a CBD health and wellness company. Check out their line of CBD-infused products, which are a perfect after-workout refuel for athletes, pain reliever for weekend warriors, as well as a natural sports drink for us armchair quarterbacks. Their featured product is CBD-infused honey, which is a personal favorite of mine, as well as tinctures in mint and natural flavors. They are veteran, women, and minority owned. So come get some of this sweet temptation and taste the premium difference. Use code BE for 15% off your order. Their website is www.premium.com. And now back to our show.
All right. Brandon started the intro for the Commanders free agency recap. I'm really excited to hear his thoughts on the Ravens free agency recap. A lot of players. But I'm gonna let you get into it, Brandon. Take it away.
Yeah, man. I don't know if you ever typed out the I don't know emoji on your phone, and one of these came up, with the hands going to the side. That's what I felt like the last 7 days. Literally, it started around this time last week because we're recording around 8:00 now Eastern time on Friday, March 13th. So it was about last Friday around this time. Phones start going off that the Ravens have made a trade or agreed to a trade with the Las Vegas Raiders for one of the best players in the National Football League, definitely their best player in Max Crosby. I was a little bit shocked. I think a lot of Ravens fans were a little bit shocked because it was 2 first rounders involved in that. And that's something we've never done in 31 years as a franchise. We've never traded a first round, much less 2 first round picks, especially one next year. We don't know where we're going to land. And I think back to the 14th pick that we had that we sent as part of the deal. That was the same spot that we landed Kyle Hamilton. So I was kind of a little happy that was potentially getting Max Crosby because he filled a need that we needed, a desperate need. But at the same time, I was like, man, 14, I think we can really get somebody good there at 14 and hit home again like we did with Kyle Hamilton, probably, again, one of the best players in the National Football League. And then one thing led to another. I think it was, Monday night, if I'm not mistaken. News came down that the Ravens pulled out late Monday night. A couple hours later, they're signing Trey Hendrickson. And then around the same time, news came out that Lamar Jackson had freed up. They had worked out a new restructured deal with him, freeing up a lot of cap space, turning that into was it the I can't think of it off the top of my head, but he still get his salary, but it's coming basically out of the owner's pot.
Restructured his contract.
Yeah, coming out of the owner's pot as opposed of the salary cap, like Patrick Mahomes does, other guys around the National Football League. But let's talk about some of the subtractions, man. Isaiah Likely, Patrick Ricard, the All-Pro center, anchor of our offensive line, Tyler Lindenbaum, Draymond Jones, Charlie Kohler, Aloy Gilman, I mentioned in the earlier in the show, Darius Washington. The back two were the safeties, but the worst of all, in my opinion, and y'all may think I'm crazy, is our punter. He was legit the second best player on the team last year. I don't give a damn what anybody say because Kyle Hamilton was the best and most consistent, played damn near every snap. I think he got injured in the Steelers game or the Green Bay game, and Jordan Stout was, healthy throughout, but was one of the best punters in National Football League. And I'm not even being biased. The stats, prove it themselves, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about later. As far as the additions go, man, we had re-signed Tyler Huntley, which I told y'all in our recap show of the season that he was a much needed signing. Because we could not have that clown that came over from Dallas, Cooper Rush, back on that roster next year. He can take a one-way flight back to Dallas. If he hadn't already, I'll pay for it. I'll do anything to get him out of fucking Baltimore and back to wherever the hell he came from. Okay. Awuzie, I can't pronounce his name, but the cornerback came in last year, wore jersey number 3, played really good. As a pretty much a number 2 corner opposite Nate Wiggins, and Marlon Humphrey was in the slot. We bought back John Simpson, who was with us for a couple years, a few years ago. Then he went with the Jets, and I think he was with I want to say the Patriots, but I could be mistaken. We signed offensive lineman Javon Gwynn from the Atlanta Falcons, Corey Bullock. I think that deal is still pending, but he was on our roster last year, so he was a player we bought back. But of course, he wasn't starting because Lindenbaum was. Tight end Durham Smith from the Chicago Bears, and I think one of my more favorite additions is the safety Jalen Hawkins. And I'll talk a little bit more about him as well in a moment. But the best of all, of course, is Trey Henderson, man. We had a press conference, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and our GM Eric DaCosta, and he was like, explaining kind of what happened without getting to the logistics of things of why we backed out of that Max Crosby trade. And he said the original plan was to, of course, trade for Max Crosby and sign Trey Henderson in free agency, but the failed physical and the health risk as far as 2 first-round picks is why they really backed out of it. Again, he didn't really say that much. That was more so the insiders. They try to beat around the bush like they can't really say that much. But again, I wanted Max Crosby. I did not want him at that price. I wish him nothing but the best. He's one of my more favorite players in the league, and he's definitely one of the more better players overall, not just on the defensive side of the ball, but overall. But we got to move forward with what we got. I mean, hopefully, like I texted you, I think it was yesterday. I hope that somehow with this cap space, we can work out another deal. Hell, they could send Marlon Humphrey to the Raiders and a first-round pick next year. I'll take that one. But I don't think 2 first-rounders, not saying that Max Crosby not worth it. It's just we value our draft picks too much. And plus, we lost so many pieces in free agency. We got a lot of holes to fill. So we need every one of our picks at least this year moving forward. And then also Lamar Jackson, I kind of factored into this as well because the whole restructure cloud, we was, below. I mean, we was under the cap or whatever. I guess above the cap it is. Basically, we didn't have no damn money heading into free agency. And then when he restructured, apparently it was sometime on Monday or late Monday night, that allowed us to get some of those guys that I just mentioned a few minutes ago. And I hope that Lamar Jackson, obviously, I hope he has a great season. I wish nothing but the best for my guy. I love Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't say too much bad about him, but I hope that it wasn't anything on his end that was holding it back. I hope it was more so in the organization as far as that restructure deal, because if he has a bad season or the team has a bad season, they're going to throw that into it as well. Oh, Lamar didn't restructure till late, so they didn't have any cap. And that's why they couldn't close out the deal for Max Crosby. It's going to be all types of stuff on top of the normal criticism that he faces anyway. But yeah, I've been telling you about my boy Kevin. I went to school with him. Shout out Kevin. We had some disagreements this week, man. One of the main ones that we was talking about was Marlon Humphrey and Awuzie. And when I told him that, they bought Awuzie back, and he was like, why? He was like, he was trash, he was a bum or whatever. And I'm like, did you not see Marlon Humphrey play? I mean, if you look when the Dolphins signed Malik Willis earlier this week, the only highlights, well, the main highlights of him in a Green Bay Packer jersey they're showing on NFL Network is the play where he had the RPO and he kept it himself, ran out to the right, and uh, Marlon's coming down in the box. He could have made the damn tackle. He got juked. Like, I guess he thought that Malik Willis, who's known more for using his legs, I guess he thought he was going to throw, okay, when he was probably damn near at the line of scrimmage where he couldn't have thrown. He got juked. Okay, Marlon goes this way and Willis goes that way in for a touchdown like 10 yards out. And I'm like, wow. They played that highlight. They played that left and right when they was talking about, the whole signing with him down in Miami. So yeah, Awuzie definitely played a lot better, man. He had some of the guys he went up against that he did good against. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. Y'all remember week 6, we kind of held that offense in the check. Amon-Ra St. Brown. He did his thing for the most part against him because they really was running the ball. Justin Jefferson, when we played the Vikings, Jamar Chase, which I'm showing y'all the highlights as well on the screen. He had a couple good plays against Jamar Chase, and then Jalen Waddle down there in Miami. All of our corners struggled against Rome Odunze and DK Metcalf because those are more big body receivers. But one thing one thing I tried to tell Kevin was you can't expect the secondary to be top notch when they got to stand back there and cover for 8 to 10 seconds. I mean, legit, the quarterbacks was back there making sandwiches and shit, doing whatever the hell they wanted from snap to throw. Like, legit, they had time to do whatever they want week after week after week. We ranked damn near at the bottom in sacks this year compared to the 2 years prior where we was near the top. So this Trey Hendrickson signing was much needed. The Max Crosby deal was unfortunate. It would have been a blessing if we could have got both of them. But the secondary, I believe, will improve with more of a pass rush. And that's what we got with Trey Hendrickson. Eric DeCosta and Jesse Minter had a press conference today introducing Trey Hendrickson, and they called him the closer. They said it's going to be nice having somebody that you can rely on in the fourth quarter to get to the quarterback, man, consistently. Trey Hendrickson won the sack title in 2024, if I'm not mistaken. It was him and Myles Garrett neck and neck, and he pulled away in week 18 before those games, before the Myles Garrett came on the field in that second game because we were playing in a doubleheader that game. But yeah, I think again, mentioning that we're now second in the league with the most cap space. I'll be interested to see who else we sign between now and the draft. I think it's best to slow down a little bit, just because I said it before. Eric DeCosta is a really good GM. I think he's one of the better GMs in the National Football League, but he does not know how to use a calculator. I mean, it's like every year we have cap issues. And this year was probably the worst of all. I mean, again, the guys we lost, man, a lot of these guys went to the Giants, which was expected. Patrick Ricard, which I didn't anticipate him playing too much longer anyway, because he's getting up in age. Let's just talk about the players that the Giants stole from us. Jordan Stout, Isaiah Likely, Ardarius Washington. Yeah, I think that's it. Aloy Gilman, he's a traitor. He did a lot for us last year, but he went to the damn Chiefs. I'm sorry, you a traitor. I hope you get burnt at least twice a game just for going there. But stay healthy, my guy. Charlie Kohler, I'm gonna miss him. He was a great blocking tight end. Jake Hummel, he was Jake Hummel. I thought he was a rookie last year. But anyway, he gone to the Texans. Keaton Mitchell is gonna sting as well. Going to the Chargers, man. You mentioned it. They always seem to take our players as the Chargers do. So now we got to worry about the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, who knows the organization because his brother, of course, was here. And of course, New York Giants because John Harbaugh's up there now, and a lot of Ravens fans will agree that Tyler Linderbaum subtraction is definitely going to be felt on that offensive line. But he was just demanding too much money. He was worth too much money, and we don't pay those type of contracts all the time. I think I did mention it during the season when Kyle Hamilton got extended. It was important to get him signed back then. But as time went on, your price tag and your value goes up. So that's what happened with Linderbaum. So best of luck to him as well. Being going to be the lead protector for what's more than likely going to be Mendoza out there as a rookie quarterback, and then Draymond Jones going up to the New England Patriots was another loss. My guy Daniel Falele is still a free agent, y'all, and he probably will remain a free agent for a while. Hopefully, we can bring back DeAndre Hopkins. I wouldn't mind seeing him back. I know you said that you heard some rumors that Hollywood Brown may be back. I don't want Hollywood Brown. His ass can stay wherever the hell he's at because we got enough issues with guys putting the ball on the ground, and he was the ringleader of that a couple years ago. But then, as I told you, he had the audacity to complain when he got traded. He didn't have his place in this offense because we was running the ball heavy back then. But you got over 1,000 yards that season. We traded you at the draft, and then you ain't had over 1,000 yards yet. Yeah, you've been to a Super Bowl or so, but still. So I would like to see Tylan Wallace back as well. He's a free agent. Kyle Van Noy, I'm sure we can get him back for cheap as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. But as far as spending a lot of money, those days of free agency are over now. It's usually the first couple days, so we usually get some of the cheaper deals historically as a franchise. We usually show up on day 3, and that's where most of our signings took place this year as well. But yeah, I don't anticipate us having any more big flash signings. We got 11 draft picks now that we got the first rounder back from the Raiders. So that's going to be very important as well. Again, we got punter needs. We got an offensive guard need, possibly a center need. We could use another pass rusher as well, and perhaps another linebacker, depending on how. And no, don't even say I don't want your boy Bobby Wagner. I know you mentioned that in the text. I don't
break that record.
Nope. We want somebody to go sideline to sideline like Roquan Smith and Teddy Buchanan, but Teddy is coming off a major injury, so I'm not sure when he's going to be back. Trenton Simpson is still on the roster. He can go sideline to sideline. Can't really cover the tight end, but we can figure some things out there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we do moving forward, especially looking towards the draft as well. But I would say if I had to get a grade for free agency, I'd probably give a C or D just because the amount of players we lost. And I think we'll never know what happened with the Lamar Jackson contract situation. That held things up as well. Again, I would have loved to get our punter back. We call our special teams unit the Wolfpack, and it used to be Justin Tucker, Sam Cook, and Nick Moore, I believe it was, the long snapper. Of course, Justin Tucker is no longer there. Sam Cook retired, and we changed long snappers a couple years ago. But then the new form came in, Tyler Loop, Jordan Stout, who just left in free agency, and a newer long snapper. And they was like, well, we're going to keep that name too. Well, now we got to replace it again. Part 3 is going to be here. So, yeah, the punter situation, man, I said it. I think I said it to you, and if not, I said it to Kevin, man. The last time we lost an impact special teams player was Devin Duvernay. And the next season, our return unit was absolutely trash. So I just hope we find the right punter in the draft. I don't want a free agent punter because most time when they are free agents, they're free agents for a reason. They're like kickers because they suck, honestly. So let's get somebody young in the draft, start it again, and let's pay this man a couple years down the road. That way we're not stuck in the damn same situation. But yeah, that's all I got on my Ravens. How about you?
Yeah, man. After the noise with the whole Max Crosby situation, a lot of conspiracies going on saying, they got cold feet, and it wasn't about the physical; it was about losing the first round picks, and they sat on it and didn't think it was a good idea. I honestly think y'all were trying to sign, like you said, Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. I think that would have been really big. When the news of the Max Crosby trade or whatever happened, they were saying, "Oh, I told you about Dio Dan Orlovsky. No more excuses, Super
Yep.
Bowl or bust type of talk. But you said news. I think that'll open up a lot of for the other guy whose name escapes me, the rookie last year out of
Mike
Marshall.
Green.
Sorry. What's his
Mike
name?
Green. Sorry.
Yeah, Mike Green. Maybe this will open up the things for him, and we'll see how it goes to there. But like you said, man, y'all did lose a lot of pieces. I was talking to one of my good friends, Wayne. What's up, Wayne? Shout out to you, man. You a Giants fan. I said I might have to start calling y'all the New York Ravens, as you mentioned all the players that they got on the Giants now that came over with a hardball. So that's definitely gonna have an impact on the team. I'm wondering how you guys will do in the draft, because y'all usually I feel like every year y'all get one or two guys in the first round and in them later rounds. Y'all find them running back. It seems like every damn year in the 7th round, and he somehow come out there the draft, make some things happen.
Yeah.
But like you said, the Trey Hendrickson signing, I thought that was big. Hopefully he can stay healthy. He was dealing with injuries a lot over the last couple years, especially last year. Sometime I think it was core muscle injury, something like that. But we'll see how that goes. And then re-signing Tyler Huntley. I don't get it either what they thought of Cooper Rush and why they went to go with him instead of Tyler Huntley. As soon as Tyler Huntley played when Lamar was down,
Yep.
he steadied the ship and everything looked right. I know they felt like complete morons. I think I texted you about that too. When they had to take Cooper Rush out and put Tyler Huntley, and it's like, damn, we should have just went for him from the start. But hey, man, hindsight's 2020. But yeah, like you said, I think you said you were mad about Draymond Jones leaving too. I think because he went to the Patriots. I don't blame you how I feel about the Patriots.
Yeah, he had kind of said something on Twitter. That's why.
Oh, he said something like about the Ravens.
Yeah, when the Ravens backed out of the deal for Max Crosby, and it was kind of like I guess it was a couple of hours before the Trey Hendrickson news came down. He posted something on Twitter or X that was like, it was kind of like that shrug emoji, like kind of like y'all should have kept me in a sense. You know what I'm saying? That's what because by that time he had already agreed to a deal with the Patriots. So
Okay.
it was kind of like y'all deserve it. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. Yeah, you know what? That does ring a bell. Low key, I think I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I thought when I first saw the Isaiah Likely leaving to the I was like, whoa. Because I like Isaiah Likely a lot. I think he's right up there with Mark Andrews. He do have his damn mishap and bonehead plays happens every damn year or so,
Yeah.
but he still got that big play potential. So see how that's going to impact the offense too. Patrick Ricard as well. I know he's a older, longer than two type of guy, but true veteran, probably a locker room leader type of guy as well. So a lot of standard and culture, as a lot of people like to say, did leave that locker room to go over to the Giants with Harbaugh. So I am interested to see who's going to come in the locker room now and be a leader, and set that standard for you guys going into next season. But like you said, I do like Jalen Hawkins signed too, but definitely the Trey Hendrickson. Y'all are like us, man. Y'all couldn't, sack a quarterback to save y'all damn lives, especially later in the season when y'all needed something to happen, man. So hopefully that Trey Hendrickson signing really works out for y'all. And like you said, we'll see what y'all do in the draft. All them damn picks. It seems like y'all got. What did you text me the other day? Y'all got like 5 or 6 comp picks or something like that. But y'all got a lot of picks this year. And like I said, y'all usually at least 1 or 2 is a starter, and another guy is a solid piece. So this is definitely a year y'all gonna need to hit on at least about 5 or 6 of them pieces or those picks. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I like the moves you got so far. I talked about L'Jarius Sneed too. I won't be surprised if y'all try to go after him as well. But we'll definitely see what happens with that situation. But yeah, I like the moves y'all made in free agency too. I didn't grade my free agency recap. I would give us a B plus. I was kind of hoping we make a more moves on wide receiver, but that's how it is for y'all. I give y'all like a B minus. I think that if y'all would have stuck with that Max Crosby deal and got Trey Hendrickson, that would have been huge. But the physical and everything like that was tough. So yeah, that's I got for y'all.
That would have evened the playing field if we got both of them. We get both of them, address a critical need, and then to make up for all the losses that went up to mainly the Giants as well. But a couple quick points, man. Keaton Mitchell, man, I never thought that he would leave, and I know the NFL is different, but his father played for us. His father won a Super Bowl with us, the first Super Bowl, Super Bowl 35. So I was just like, man, I just don't. I never thought he'd leave, but I know we didn't necessarily use him because we had Derrick Henry and John Harbaugh and dumbass Todd Bunking got away from the run whenever it was good. So that was part of it, man. I think real quick, Matabike, if he can come back, which has seen some videos on social media of him working out and it looks good. Um,
Okay.
if he can come back, him and Trey Henderson, and hopefully the development of, as you mentioned, Mike Green, as well as whoever else we may get. Um, Hopefully that pass rush will be a lot better and not be as big of a weakness as it was last year. Because when Matabike went out, it was a hell of a difference on that defensive line for sure. And then Cooper Rush, man. One more thing, man. I texted you this. I'm gonna just say it on here, man. Cooper Rush was worse than four of the worst Ravens quarterbacks of all time. Ed's boy, Kyle the Game Blower Bowler, Tony Banks from the Super Bowl year, Trent Dilfer, the Super Bowl winning quarterback, and Elvis Gerbach, who replaced both of them the following year. Bad. All right, everyone. So many free agent signings and trades over the last 4 to 5 days in the National Football League, but let's discuss what was the biggest one of all. Ed, in your opinion, batter up.
Uh, the biggest one of all, probably, I have to go with a quarterback, but I got a few that caught my eye. I'll start with I guess the biggest one of all of me was Kyler Murray to the Vikings. Once the Cardinals released Kyler Murray, there were a bunch of funny memes about Kyler Murray. I kind of felt bad, but they were hilarious. Some of the memes I saw
Yep.
about him. But yeah, going to the Vikings, we'll have a quarterback competition with JJ McCarthy. I could see him winning that battle. He said he's been a lifelong Vikings fan too, so that's kind of cool. He gets to play for the team he grew up liking. So that's the biggest one for me. But overall, some of the biggest ones also David Montgomery to the Texans. That kind of was a shock to me. I didn't really see that happening, but that is a big need for the Texans. I mean, Joe Mixon missed a whole year last year. I mean, who knows if he'll come back, but I think David Montgomery can go in the Texans, be a nice piece for that running back field. They had a rookie last year who did okay for the Texans. Can't think of his name right now, but I think that'll be a good piece for the Texans, David Montgomery. Geno Smith going to the Jets. I know, he had a terrible, terrible year with the Raiders, and he's bounced around the league some, but he did have really good seasons with the Seahawks. I don't think he's a bum. I kind of think he went to a situation with the Raiders. They probably had the worst offensive line in the league last year. So I think him going to the Jets, coming back to the team who drafted him, this will be redemption. And I think this will be, an interesting, good move for the Jets. I think his quarterback play going to be better than Justin Fields and whoever the hell else they had last year. Hopefully the damn owner don't call him out. But I think Geno Smith to the Jets is good. Malik Willis to the Dolphins. I mean, the damn coach, offensive coordinator from the Packers went over to the Dolphins. I think the GM went over, or the executive player personnel, something like that. He went over to the Dolphins as the GM now. Yeah, let's bring over the backup quarterback who played some good games. You mentioned it against the Ravens, looking like Willie Beeman out there. If y'all remember that movie, Any Given Sunday, Malik Willis to the Dolphins. He got a bunch of money too, so he's probably going to be the starter unless something else happens. They draft somebody. Who knows? But Malik Willis to the Dolphins, I think that was a big move as well. Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs, that was a big one for me. Super Bowl winning MVP, I doubt. I think he's probably in the middle of his career now, right now as a running back. Hopefully he doesn't have any injuries, but I think that's a huge, huge move for the Chiefs. Their running back play wasn't exactly the greatest. Kareem Hunt is okay, but that's a guy who gives them some more juice, some more oomph in a backfield. I think that was a good one. But yeah, those are the biggest ones for me. David Montgomery to the Texans, Geno Smith to the Jets, Malik Willis to the Dolphins, Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs, and Kyler Murray to the Vikings. For me, is the biggest free agency signings and trades. How about you, sir?
Yeah, man, that Kenneth Walker acquisition by Kansas City, as you mentioned, that run game was not that good last year, so they add him in there. And then you also bring back Eric Bieniemy as well, so they're anticipating that they're going to run the ball a lot more. We don't know how Patrick Mahomes is going to feel coming off that injury, so that may also factor into the run game as well. So it's good to have somebody that could be a bell course for them there as well. Got speed and power. But I got a team that signed two defenders um, in the NFC South that really shocked us all throughout the season because of their offensive play and their run game. I'm going to Carolina Panthers. They signed Jalen Phillips from the Philadelphia Eagles, and of course, he spent most of his career so far with the Miami Dolphins. And Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd, man, he was the guy I talked about several times last season, man, with his interceptions, 5. Okay, he returned 1 for a touchdown against the Kansas City Chiefs. But his on the ball, man, production was really good with Jacksonville, man. Solid starter. I think he'll definitely help the middle of that Carolina Panther defense, where the weakness of the team was that defense, man. And then Phillips, man, he could set the edge. I've been a fan of his since the early days in Miami. Pocket disruptor. After he was traded to the Eagles in November, early November, he had 2 sacks and 27 pressures, man. His 5-year career, he's had 28 sacks and 150 pressures. So I think both of those guys will be big time additions for that Carolina Panthers team looking to win the NFC South for the second straight year. And hopefully they're hoping this year it'll be a little bit more outright.
All right, y'all. Brandon mentioned it earlier. Let's talk about head scratching moves, the biggest head scratching move, and head scratching moves in general that happened in free agency so far. I'm gonna start first. I guess the biggest one for me because when he got released, Tua Tagovailoa, I honestly thought this is probably the end of his career. But then I see the Falcons picked him up on a 1-year deal. I was just like, really? Wow, okay. He's a left-handed quarterback too, like Michael Penix is. There'll definitely be a quarterback competition if Michael Penix can come back healthy in time to start the season. But I was surprised by that. But maybe I shouldn't doubt, Matt Ryan. I mean, he did play the position very well with the Falcons. He's president of, basically a GM, but he's president of football operations, everything like that. That was the biggest head scratcher for me. We'll see how it goes with Tua. I know he's dealt with concussions in his career, up and down play, but he does have some weapons with the Falcons. You know how I feel about Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and then Bijan Robinson, arguably the best running back in the league, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes up there. This is a little smaller one, but I saw Sam Howell sign with the damn Cowboys. It's mainly I'm scratching my head on that one because he played with the he started his career. We drafted him. The Commanders did. So it's only because of that. Him playing with the Commanders, drafting, and starting his career. I know, he's trying to stay in the league, so he's gonna go wherever they offer the money. But I was like, the hell, the Cowboys want to send him out for? That was definitely a head scratcher for me. The biggest one of them all. This probably doesn't really count as a head scratching move for free agency, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It's a guy you mentioned just a little minute ago. But when the Browns hired Todd Monken as head coach, I definitely scratched my head on that one. I forgot what you called. Did you call him sorry ass? You called him some type of ass earlier.
Yeah.
In the show. Tom Monken, because when you talk about him, it's never good. So when they signed him, I was just like, is it the Browns being the Browns? I mean, who knows? I mean, him and Lamar, they did have some success, but like you said, the run game sometimes, the play calling sometimes, I don't know. So that. Him going to the Browns, who was it? Jim Schwartz. He was pissed. He left the team because he thought he should be the head coach going forward, former D coordinator with the Browns. But Todd Monken to the Browns is probably my biggest head scratching move so far. Brandon, what say you?
Man, this may have y'all scratching your heads, but I'm gonna go with the biggest head scratcher move for me was my Ravens not bringing back my punter. I will be forever pissed off about this until at least the third night of the draft, y'all. Number 11, man. You when your team is known for special teams, man, you get a lot of respect for them, man. Number 11, he had one of the best seasons of his career last year. Which that was making even more head scratching, man, even more grinds my gears, man. 50 yards a punt average. 24 of those were inside the 20-yard line. He had multiple punts over 70 yards. I can't remember. It was one of the final 3 games last year. I can't remember which one exactly. He had three. Yeah, three inside the 5-yard line. Come on, y'all. Really? Again, my second best second best player behind Kyle Hamilton. He came in and replaced the retiring Sam Cook, who played 16 years in Baltimore. So I thought we was going to get another long tenured punter. And sure enough, they just said, Brandon, shut the hell up. We ain't gonna sign him back. And one more stat: net average of 44.9 yards per punt last year. Man, it's just it again. I think back to Devin Duvernay when we let him go, and it was just a mess. I think we had fumbles on returns the following year. Guys couldn't even, it was fair catch after fair catch, or they letting the ball go into the end zone when they definitely had space. They were just afraid of catching the damn ball and making a return. I just fear that we're not going to be able to recover from this. The only thing I saw on ESPN or NFL Network somewhere after that signing was I think it's a punter out of Georgia Tech, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't get his name, but I'm hoping that that guy falls to us. We tend to draft punters in the 4th or 6th round. We have, I think, 4 5th-round picks, so it may be the 5th round this year. But I'm hoping that we get a solid punter like like Jordan Stout was and Sam Cook was for several years, more than a decade there. And one more quick thing, man. Kevin said that what he said, Tyler Luke was absolutely horrible. And I'm like, okay, let me speak. And I don't even think I responded to it, but I remember telling you about it. And I was like, okay, dude was 30 for 34 in field goals. I think he missed 1 or 2 extra points. He missed one field goal the final play of the season that, we did not make it to the playoffs because he missed it. Okay. Yes. I was pissed off a little bit too. But at that point, honestly, I told you I didn't want to go to the playoffs. But, it would have been nice to beat the Steelers, you know what I'm saying? But really, I mean, he did struggle on kickoffs. He just could not, at least the first 5, 6 games, he could not get that whole landing zone rule down. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know. It just wasn't sticking. Or they wasn't working on him during the practice. He was asleep during the meetings or something. But he just could not get it down. But then after about week 6, week 7, after the bye week, he got a lot better. And he only had one more issue that I remember from the bye week to the end of the season as far as those kickoffs go. But my guy was 30 for 34. You know how many teams would love to have a kicker with those type of stats? I'm sure you would. You was having kicking issues last year. The San Francisco 49ers was having kicking issues. The Atlanta Falcons was having kicking issues. The New York Giants. I mean, I can go on and on, man. There's so many teams that would absolutely take him off our hands. And again, I understand the man missed that final kick at the end of the year and it was wide right. I get it. But to say that he was absolutely horrible, come on, man. I don't think sometimes we be watching the same team. And I ain't always right about my Ravens, y'all. I'm not always right. But there's one thing I'm right on is Tyler Loop is not horrible. Daniel Laley is absolutely horrible. And Awuzie played a hell of a lot better than Marlon Humphrey. That's all I got.
Well, all right then, y'all. That's gonna do it for another episode of B&E Podcast presented by Premium. As always, thank everybody who takes time out of their day, watch the show, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Just look for B&E Podcast, Breaking the Internet Podcast. Follow us on X or Twitter, Podcast B&E. Look for us on Instagram as well as B&E Podcast. Next time you'll see us, we'll be going over the draft. Hopefully, we're all happy with our choices, our team choices. And I promise y'all, I will give y'all the biggest bonehead plays of the year. I know it's the off-season thing like that, but it's coming. Just be on the lookout for that, y'all. That'll do it. Until next time, y'all take it easy out there. Peace. And congrats, Bam Adebayo, 83 points. Damn shame. Damn